Have you ever made a delicious low-carb meal in only 10 minutes? If you've been trying to watch your carbs, you might be getting tired of salads. So tonight I'm going to show you how to make a delicious chicken dinner in only 10 minutes. It's called coconut ginger chicken, and you start off just a little bit of olive oil in your pan, and you add 2 tablespoons of minced garlic and 2 minced garlic cloves. Put those in the pan. You can already hear it sizzle. I'm going to spin that around a little bit in the pan, just till it starts to get fragrant. Then I'm going to add 12 ounces of sliced mushrooms. Now, the thing about mushrooms is you don't want to crowd them in the pan. If you crowd them, all the moisture sticks into the mushrooms and doesn't leave the mushrooms, so you get soggy, gummy, not the kind of mushrooms you want. This is what you want to do with your mushrooms. Give them lots of room. Another thing about mushrooms is you don't want to bother them too much. You want to let them kind of sit there. I'm going to put them in a single layer so that they get a chance to brown really well. And I'm not going to cover the pan entirely because I don't want to trap too much moisture in there. There. Now I'm just going to let those sit for 3 minutes or so. I'll turn them every now and then. But let's talk about the ginger and the garlic. So when you buy garlic from the grocery store, you get it like this. You know, when I was a young mother, I read my first recipe that called for 2 cloves of garlic. And I actually put 2 of these in the recipe. Can you believe that? It didn't taste very good. A clove of garlic is actually just one of the sections, of course. Now, if you would like to save some time, and you have to do that if you're going to cook this dinner in 10 minutes, you can buy something from the grocery store that is already chopped up. So you can get a little jar of chopped up garlic, or you could even get it in a tube. So for this purpose, I actually got a tube of garlic. Oh, this is looking good. And boy, if you could just smell this, it's just wonderful. I think you could cook beetles this way and it would taste good. But we won't try that tonight. They're starting to look really good. I'm going to just flip a few of them over. I like to cook with tongs rather than a spoon because it makes it much easier to cook and flip things over when they're not exactly like I want them. Okay, they're starting to look really good, so I'm going to let them cook a little bit longer. So let's talk about ginger. Now, ginger, when you get it from the grocery store, looks like this. It takes a little while to get the good stuff out of the ginger. So, but you can just cut the edges off with a spoon, or you can peel it. But then you have to grate it. But you could also buy it in a tube, like I did for the garlic and for the ginger that I put in this. Boy, that's looking really good now. I think it's time to add the rest of our food. So now that the mushrooms are done, I'm going to add half of a bunch of broccoli, a cup of snow peas, 3 scallions that I cut up into 1-inch slices, and a pound of chicken breast. Now, this chicken breast I cooked the night before. If you have leftover chicken breast, that makes a really good way to use up your leftovers. So I'm just going to stir this around a little bit. And in order to let the heat really get into the chicken and the pea pods and the broccoli, I'm just going to cover it tightly right there. And turn up the heat just a little bit because we want this to really cook nicely. So for about 3 minutes, we're going to let this just get all nice and crisp tender, and the chicken all nice and warm. And then we're going to add the rest of our ingredients. So while that's cooking, I'm going to put together our sauce. So right here I have a 13-ounce can of coconut milk. Now you can get low-fat coconut milk, light coconut milk. You can get coconut beverage. But what I'm using here is organic coconut milk that comes in a can. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to add my 2 teaspoons of Asian garlic sauce. I have 2 teaspoons of grated lime zest. I have 2 tablespoons of fish sauce. You can get this in the Asian food section. I'm taking all of those and I'm just in the mixing bowl, or in the measuring cup, I'm just going to mix those lightly together because they're all going to go into the sauce, right into the pan with the chicken and everything else. Now, right about now, I think that the broccoli is going to be starting to get kind of crisp, tender, and I think that the pea pods are going to be just right. So let's take a look. Oh yeah, that's just what I wanted. You know when the pea pods are done because they get bright green. They start to turn yellow on you, you've gone past the point of no return. So you want to be sure to get them right when they're bright green. So now I'm just going to pour the sauce right in on top of it. Oh, I can hear that bubbling. It sounds really good. And boy, it's starting to look good too. So now what we're trying to do is we're trying to get all of the ingredients soaking up that good sauce. The broccoli especially, because broccoli florets are really good at soaking up sauce. So I'm putting those all together. I'm going to cover this all up. And I'm going to let that cook too. Now, a low-carb lifestyle, and I call it a lifestyle, not a diet, because if you just have a low-carb diet, you're almost certain to gain the weight back that you lose. I lost 40 pounds on a low-carb diet. I want to lose 40 more. But I know that if I don't stick with it, that the weight will just come back. So that's a lifestyle choice. Along with my really good cooking, I also walk every day, and I do other types of exercise too. But you know what? I think that if I didn't do some creative cooking and try some new things, I might get bored. Because I've heard so many people say, oh, I tried Atkins, or I tried paleo, or I tried some other kind of diet, and I just couldn't take another salad. And I understand. But there are so many great recipes that you can adapt. Oh my, look at that. That looks so good. I think that's just about done. Spoon that into my bowl. Mmm, it smells so good. Oh, it's tangy and it's creamy. Taste the garlic, and the ginger is great. That's wonderful. So if you'd like to adapt a recipe for 10-minute cooking and make it low carb, here are some tips for you. Make sure that you load it up with vegetables. I used broccoli, pea pods, mushrooms, ginger, scallions. If a recipe calls for 3 kinds of vegetables, stick in 5. You know, there's no limit. You want to make sure that you're using lean meats. Cut off any visible fat and use healthy oils like olive oil or coconut oil or canola oil. But in the meantime, good carb cooking